I always give away too much. It's like I've got no sense of touch. I'm always pouring out my heart, no little by little here. I'm always pushing things too far.
Hey guys, welcome back, or welcome, whatever the case may be. With today's video, we are going to be buttoning up my dining room makeover with the absolute final DIY project that I have been wanting to get done since the makeover's been done, which is months. I'm not going to lie. Now, the DIY project that I want to share with you today is going to add amazing architectural character to my dining room that design alone can't bring. Yes, it's curated with beautiful antiques, and I have hand-selected every piece that's gone in there. I have refinished the walls, I have refinished the furniture. If you've been with my channel for a while, you may have seen that makeover. If not, I'll be sure to put some of those videos down below so you can see the amazing transformation of not only the furniture, but the overall space. It's one of my most favorite rooms that is almost done in my home. It needs this. I've been waiting to do this, so. But before we get rolling into this super awesome DIY project, I would be so honored if you would pause this video, hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, introduce yourself down in the comments below so we can get to know each other better. I truly appreciate all the love and support I get from you all for my channel, and I love making new friends. So definitely hit that subscribe button and introduce yourself. Now, the last piece to my dining room makeover puzzle was always an intended project, which will be adding faux beams to the ceiling in my dining room. I'm going to center them in the room off of the chandelier in the squareness of the room, so I only need the 2 beams, and honestly, I really think that this is exactly what the room needs. It is going to bring such a visual impact to that room. It is the wow factor I'm looking for. It is the cherry on top of this sundae. Now, the faux beams are not going to look out of place as the only room in my house that has faux beams. Number one, I'm already planning them in another area. But number 2, my fireside room is a cathedral ceiling giant room. It's about 50 by 30. And it has the most amazing, big, beautiful beams in there. I love the look. I really love the look of exposed beams. Not a cabin looking beam. It has to have a certain look for me. Not that there's anything wrong with a cabin, because there totally isn't. It's just not the aesthetic I'm trying to convey or go for. So I love that old world exposed antique beam feel. And that's what I have in my fireside room. So I wanted to bring some of that to the other side of the house. Believe me, I'm already thinking about it for the kitchen too. My husband's like, slow down. So this project is all about constructing those beams and getting the look that I want. I want this to look like something that has been there since the house was built. I think the look fits the style of the house, absolutely fits my overall aesthetic throughout the home of that collected, lived in, cozy, intentional home. And these beams are just what I need. So we are actually going to do this video in 2 parts. Today's part is going to be about the materials you need and how you can construct these beams for your home as well. But we're going to have to continue this with a part 2. This is just part 1 of how we do it. So without further ado, let's roll into the video of how we're going to make our DIY dining room faux beams on an extreme budget. As you can see, there's really nothing old looking about these 1x4s, but we are totally going to change that. I did go for the ones that had the most character with knots. I also went for the ones that had the holes, knot holes on them. I thought that added super charm, imperfections, splits, and you name it. I don't want them to be perfect, but I do want them to be straight, and these qualify as both of that. These boxes need to be created. So with the help of my husband, some glue and some nails, we are going to get these 2 faux beam boxes done. Using my favorite wood glue Titebond, we are just going to run a bead down each connecting side. Then we're just going to add some clamps onto that, and Scott is going to use his pneumatic air gun and get a few nails in place so that these structures are solid. This is just a basic structure that goes together so easy, but the end result is going to be exactly what I'm looking for in the easiest way possible with an even easier installation process. Work smarter, not harder, I always say. This is the part that's going to get attached straight up to the ceiling. The 2x4 fits right in between there, and then we can just put a couple nails and get that in. But for right now, we have to let them cure for the night. So I will see you guys back here tomorrow, and we will give these guys a faux finish that makes them look like they've been around a whole lot longer than they actually have. Good morning, friends. We are back out in my husband's shop, and our faux beams have cured all. They should be good and strong and ready for me to start to give it an aged patina look. So I'm just gonna take the clamps off, turn these over, and now that they have the shape, I will be able to craft the character into the beams much easier than if you tried to do it on an individual piece basis and then put it together. I think it would be way harder. I think you need to construct the faux beam first like this, glue it, nail it, let it cure like we did overnight, come back and then create the character that we want in this beam to make it look. And I'm going to do that by using some of my husband's tools, just tools that I picked from around here that I think are going to give character to the beams. And I think it's gonna look really, really good. And this is a super easy and even better, a super cheap project to get that look you want without spending much money at all. So without further ado, I'm really excited to get this going. Let's get the clamps off and flip these beams over and let the fun begin. So as you can see, there is a gap. We're not gonna worry about that. We can use wood putty for that. It looks pretty good. I guess I'm gonna get the radio going and get my destruction on. Old beams won't have nice, crisp, sharp, square edges. They're gonna be rounded and worn and probably nicked and scraped and dinged, so that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna do that just using some tools that I found in my husband's toolbox. And don't be horrified, I know what I'm doing. Just trust it and go with it. Some saw marks, put them straight across. Dig it, take those edges off, and pull it. You can leave it rough or smooth curls. So I'm gonna round it into the beam both ways somehow. Take that piece out, don't be afraid. That's gonna be character. That's all character and age. You can go a little easier on the corners to shave them, and then in other spots, literally cut in and go deeper. Give it that handmade look. Don't be afraid. It's already looking pretty good to me.
One more night with the dead. I've been spending more time with them than the living. And if you're just the company that you keep, I'll stay where I am for eternity. if something's gonna come my way. I don't know, but give me just a little taste, 'cause I need something to hold on to. I need more than just a window with a view.
Just look at the patina we have created already. It is so fun, so easy to do. Go on the lighter side when you're doing it though, and step back and always keep peeking at the piece. Look at it, because you can always go back and take more, but you can't put it back on once it's gone, and there is such a thing as overkill. We want it to look like it's old and been around for a while. We don't want it to look like it's gonna fall on our heads. So less is more. Step back, look at it, but look. From this squared, brand new piece that we put together to something that is starting to resemble something that has been around for a long time. This is a beautiful way to add character to your room, to any room for that matter, real cheap. This did not cost much at all. 6 1x4s and 2 2x4s, some elbow grease. I have everything else to complete the project. Cheap, and boy, I am hoping this is gonna look fabulous. What a difference. New to old. I think the beam's done. It's only one way to find out, and that is to sand it down so I can really take a look at how aged I hope it now looks. So I'm gonna sand this with fine, probably 220 grit sandpaper. I'm not trying to take anything down at the moment. I wanna see what I have. I'm really excited. I think this is gonna be beautiful. In fact, I know it's gonna be beautiful. There's no question in my mind. How insane is it that that rough looking piece right there that we just banged and nicked and scratched and clawed up turns into this beautiful piece. It still needs to get dusted off and have the stain applied, but oh my Lord. This is so fun to watch this transformation happen because you can totally just see it, and it's an amazing transformation. This side looks really good. This side has a gap, so this beam for sure is going to need some filling. But I'm gonna sand it first because I want it to be smooth and take a look at how it looks all done up and make sure it matches the other beam. And then once it does, then I will go in with the stainable wood putty and I will just fill in those gaps, and hopefully it won't be noticeable at all. I was really hoping, I mean, look at how good that looks. I was hoping for the same thing over here, but no dice, no bueno. Always something in a project, but it won't stop us and we'll go forward and it'll look fabulous. Using a stainable wood filler, I'm going to fill in all of these gaps that are all along the seams in the beam. Now I want to make sure I get enough in there so that one, it goes down into the beam, but two, I want more than enough. I want it to be extra over the edge because it's uneven and I'm going to have to connect it with sanding. So I'm going to apply more than needed because I'm going to end up taking that away when it's time to sand. And I really am just trying to make sure to avoid any and every seam. This was all I could think of to do it. So I'm kind of hoping this is going to work. And I also suggest save yourself a manicure if you're doing this and put on gloves. I didn't. I wish I had. Lesson learned. I'm also trying to keep the mess confined to basically the width of the gaps. Like, I don't want to just smear this all over because I'm not sure how this is going to respond to stains and treatments versus the plain wood. So I'm trying to keep it as tidy as possible. Look at the detail in the character on this beam. This is insane. Look at that. Looks so good. Like, it's so hard to believe that this was the new 1x4s. This one had a little accident, so it tipped and somehow my husband stepped on it, and when he did, he separated the seam on this side. It was completely apart. Now, I was more concerned with the crack in the beam and how to fix it than I was in grabbing my camera, so you don't get to see how we did it. But what we did is my husband put glue all in that crack, and it goes all the way up. I mean, it's pretty far. And then I actually took some sawdust from our pile where the trees are cut, and I threw that sawdust right on top of it. So when it dries, I'm gonna sand this, and I'm actually hoping that that sawdust is really gonna help hide the fact that this was a huge crack. And I'm just gonna leave it sit there to dry and sand it. So, with all of the character and all of the beauty, look at this. These beads, you all, look at this. Look at that. It looks, in person, I wish you could see this, because I'm telling you, they look old. Even though it's raw pine, it has wicked character and lines and depth, and it's all smooth like it would be if it had been there for many, many years. So this is gonna be fun. That one's gonna cure. We're gonna sand that to match this, and here is where this part of our story ends. So this will be the end of part 1 for the faux beams, with the exception of I'm going to show you how I'm going to make antique vinegar stain for my beams. I don't know if it's gonna work or not. It's not a big deal. If it doesn't, I won't have wasted much of anything at all. I have everything, so let me show you how you can make your own stain out of vinegar, coffee grinds, and steel wool and use it. And when you use it, it actually has that old world look that you really just can't get straight out of a can. The color is supposed to be a very antique color. So let me show you how that's made. And look at this. Our amazing beams. Just oodles and oodles of detail. Look at that. Look at all of that character. All of these lines are gonna look so good when you stain it and you add like an antiquing gel, which I think I might do to really catch in all of those nooks and crannies. I mean, look at that. I love it. They just came out so good. I can't wait to see the stain on there. And keep applying it until I'm completely done with the entire job. And by the way, after the fact, I recommend if you have a nice manicure, wear some gloves to do this. I'm going to let all this sit overnight to cure, and then I will come back once again tomorrow, and I will sand this all down with a 220 grit sandpaper. Just a few turns, nothing major, and I'm going to set it someplace where nobody's going to bother it until I am ready to use it. Now, when you make something like this, you will want to test it periodically to see if it's at the color that you're looking for or a color and tone that you want. So it's always good to have an extra piece of wood that you can just test as you go and as it develops. But when it is time to use this, we're actually going to strain this to get all of the coffee grinds out as well as the steel wool pieces, because that will break down in there, and what we'll be left with is our workable stain that we will use as the base to our project, giving it this gorgeous salvaged, aged kind of look already. So I'm excited. So for now, we're done. Be sure to stay tuned for part 2. You definitely don't want to miss how this is going to turn out. Trust me on that one.
Cause I give my